Good morning, everybody. Today is Friday, August 11th, 2017, and it is 9:23 a.m. Thank you all yesterday who supported my Facebook Live. There was a little glitch going on the ATB page where it kept closing out, and so I didn't want to take a risk of losing the momentum, so I taped it on my page, my personal page, and I'm sharing it, and it is on YouTube, and it's about artists finding a way to get money to support their art. So weirdly enough, every morning I try to catch Dr. Adam Ramsey, who is an eye doctor and owns Iconic Eye Care in Palm Beach Gardens. I try to catch his Facebook Live while he's driving into work. And weirdly enough, he was talking about something that I had been talking about yesterday. We didn't see each other yesterday. We did see each other the day before, but we didn't have this conversation. So it was about passion and what we stand for. So he was talking about the football player Colin Kaepernick and what he stands for. And I'm not going to get into those particulars. All I will say is that this is a man who is willing to sacrifice his career for what he stands for, without any dispute, without any apologies. And Dr. Ramsey brought up a good point. This is a man who is making millions of dollars, but he's passionate about what he stands for. So Dr. Ramsey was asking, and I was talking about this with a friend of mine yesterday, what are you passionate about? What are you willing to fight for? And I was talking to my friend because I was talking about what my role is in this art community and why I do the things I do. There are things that I do that people love, and they're like, ooh, and they hit like on social media, and I bump into them, oh, Trina, I love what you said. But there are times that there's some things that I stand for and I say that are not necessarily popular and uncomfortable, and people get offended sometimes, and that's their prerogative if they want to feel that way. I'm not saying or doing what I'm saying to offend anyone, but I'm saying and doing what I do because I have a passion for fighting. In this case, I'm an advocate for the arts community, artists specifically, local in particular. That's not saying that I don't support international and nationally renowned artists, which, by the way, artists in this community are listed as that. But I'm about people here in this community, specifically artists, musicians, dancers, visual artists, tech people, culinary people, earning a living in what they're doing and not have to suffer and sacrifice and scrounge for it. We pay who we pay to make sure that they get what they need to earn a living and do more than survive. So we need an attorney, we pay the attorney fee. We need a doctor, we pay the doctor fee. I go to Dr. Ramsey's office. If I need an eye checkup, I pay Dr. Ramsey. If I need glasses, he writes me a prescription, I pay for glasses. That's what you're supposed to do. So a lot of times people have made statements to myself, to my husband, to other fellow artists who do what I do, that we talk too much. We talk too much about art. But I'm sorry. I don't tell, the garbage man on his route, you talk too much about garbage. Or, again, an attorney. You know what? You talk too much about law. You're totally caught up in law. Why do you keep talking about that? That's ridiculous. I'm an artist. I'm an art educator. I'm an art advocate. I'm an art activist. That's what I'm going to talk about. That's what I'm passionate about. That's what I fight for. Sacrifice. We sacrificed a lot of things for this. So obviously we believe in this. Time, money, almost a home, literally almost our home. How many of you can say that you sacrificed something the space you lived in, to fight what you believe in? Not everybody can do that. You know what I mean? We had to start over. My kids, there's a lot of things my kids didn't get to do as young people with us as a family because our fight, unfortunately, maybe it was selfish. I don't think they view it that way. Ultimately, they're grown men now. They understand why we do what we do. And they're diligent in other ways, but they respect that those are the choices that we made. My father could have been like, look, I'm not paying for your education in art. You're going to be an accountant, and that's all to it. He believed in what I wanted to do. And if it took a while to get it done, it took a while to get done. And he knew in the long run, I would be a better person for it. And I am grateful to my dad, because I could have just easily did the other thing and become an accountant and be miserable. I probably would have been making a lot of money doing it, but I'm not passionate about it. And I couldn't see myself devoting 35, 40 years in that industry. I just couldn't. He actually, when I got out of college and I was looking for work, he had recommended, Trina, why don't you work for transit? He just mentioned it because I was looking for a job, wasn't sure about if I was going to go back to school or not, which I opted out not to do it. And he's like, why don't you work for transit? And I'm like, I looked at him, I said, well, how long does it take, when is retirement? And he was like, I think 30 years. Yeah, I think he said 30 years. So, had I taken that route, I would be retiring next year from transit. Probably would have hated it, especially with all the headaches they're going through right now. But I probably would have been, comfortable. But I wouldn't have met my husband. I mean, I probably would have met my husband, but I might not have stayed with my husband. Because I wouldn't have been in the route of the arts. Because we weren't married, obviously. We were dating. I probably would have taken a totally different route. And I might have not been happy. I would not have met the people that I met. So obviously, if I didn't stay with my then boyfriend, wouldn't have the sons that I had, it would have been a totally different life. And I wasn't passionate about trains or buses. I don't know which one he wanted me to do or was recommending, or even if I was in the corporate area. I have other family members that work for transit. That's just not for me. Transit was something at that time where I take to go to work and go to my events and go to hang out with my friends, and that's what New York's City Transit Authority was for me. Now I look at it differently. Now it's something I could potentially get public art projects through. But it was never something that I could see a career in. So, what are you passionate about? And what are you willing to fight for and stand behind? And I have, friends in the industry, in and outside of the industry, that know I'm not playing. I can stand there and argue. There's a friend of mine, I won't mention their name, lives here. And oftentimes we get into, conversations, sometimes a little bit heated, about my point of view on the arts and art and how it relates to our society, excuse me. And, I defend tooth and nail. And my attitude is, sometimes a little bit tough. I work with municipalities on a regular basis. Their vision of what art is for versus what my knowledge of what art is for is two totally different things. Two totally different things. And I'm going to stand my ground. And nothing personal. It's not that I want to it's not about even being right. It's about the integrity. And going back to Colin, a lot of people, making snap judgments about his choices and what he's doing, and that he's dishonoring this and he's dishonoring that. And never in the conversation was that ever the goal. Just like I'm not bashing individuals because they don't view the arts as a relevance, to this community the way I do. They're going to have it in the way they need to. I'm going to state it the way I need to. If we can come to a common ground of respect, because respect is huge, one thing I can say, I have respect for a lot of people in a lot of situations and a lot of things. And as long as we come to a common ground of respect, we can work together. If we don't, so be it. No biggie. So I want you to think about this, and I'm not talking about the job that you have that pays your bills, and I want to know something in your life, a career change, a choice that you want to make. What are you passionate about? What are you willing to sacrifice it for? Some people might say my kids, my husband, my wife, my significant other. But in terms of doing something for your community, what are you passionate about? Are you about me fi me or we fi me we? Which is it? What is your legacy going to be? Are they going to say, oh, Jan Doe, she was all about herself. She was successful. She was a multimillionaire. She retired early. She traveled. Or are you going to be the individual when people talk about you and your legacy? This person was a giving person. This person fought for me when I needed somebody to fight for me. This person thought about me over herself. She was a fighter. She supported things. She supported people. And she was passionate about what her mission and her thought process was. Who are you going to be? Who are you going to be in your legacy that people will be talking about 50-something years from now? Think about that. So, Dr. Ramsey, I don't know if you were mind reading me. It's weird that I was just talking about this. Got into a little, I won't say disagreement about it, but a passionate conversation about this topic. So thank you for reiterating what I have been saying. He mentioned about, people boycotting situations. I'm going to end with this. I got a Facebook alert the other day. I was thinking about going to a store that I had not been to in a while because of something I was very passionate about. And the day I was thinking about going there, I got a Facebook alert that reminded me why I was not going there. I knew I wasn't going there, but I was desperate. I said, I need these materials. I need them. This place gives great deals. But the irony to that post was that it also gave me my alternative in that same post. And though it was a few years ago, I realized that regardless of everybody around me that made their choices, and it's understandable, I stood my ground because I believe in that choice that I made was for the greater good of the community that I serve. So, think about what you are passionate about and would you stand your ground for it. Thank you, everybody. You enjoy your weekend. Remember, our studio's open. If you want to come visit, hit me up. Let me know. Peace.